He-Skeletor is confirmed. Confirmed, I tell you. It's going to happen on April 11th, and it's your only chance to get Blue He-Man. Blue He-Man is confirmed, and you will need your wallets to purchase him. Ah!
Yeah, so you heard him. You heard what he said. Blue He-Man. It is confirmed. It is 100% now. It is on the site. The countdown is already there, and they are ready. They are a go. This is very cool. We've seen it coming. And now we have to talk about whether or not it's actually worth it. See, I'd mentioned in the last video that this might not be worth it. And there's argument to be made that it's not worth it. That it's quite literally Blue He-Man. But I'm getting it, and I'll tell you why I'm getting it. But let's at least go look at it. Let's look at the official pictures. Not the pictures that were released, the ones that were like, hey, this is kind of it. I got to take a couple photos in their room or whatever. No, let's look at the official Mattel Creations images and make some determinations. All right, so here we are. And we're on the Mattel Creations site as usual. And as you can see, the countdown is right there. We have relatively 5 days. You get the idea. And they're counting down. So we're only on the 11th. We have a chance to get He-Skeletor. Motu goes multiversal. And this could be a big deal. Let's look at this real quick before I get into it. First off, that is awesome. I do like the gold. I like that shininess right in there. I like his, you can't see it, but he's got that gold right there. That's nice. And these are very much professional images, so we get what we're getting at. But that's really cool right there. It's something that we could easily set up with the other He-Man, though. He's just Blue He-Man. He's just Blue He-Man. I really wish this had been the Crossbones thing. These are pretty cool promotional images, though. You gotta hand it to them for selling the images. That is really cool. That is substantially cool, with him coming through with Anti-Eternia He-Man coming through the portal thing right there, and then he's standing. That's really cool. That is an awesome shot in general. There's him and normal He-Man standing there back to back. There's I have the power, or I can have the power, or something of that nature. I don't know what he says in the comic. I did buy the comic. I just bought it. It arrived today, actually, so I'm going to finally get a chance to go through it and see what I think of it. Here's the mini-comic, Crisis at the Multicore. Look at that. He-Man's going to have to fight a Trimmer, or that weird Doomsday weapon from Star Trek, the Doomsday Machine. So that's cool. Here's the box art that we've already seen with him on there and everything. That's pretty cool. That's nice little box and everything. And of course the back, that is fantastic. That's an awesome cat. I know that's just a recolor, but I'd love a recolor cat, actually. We could use more cats. That's really cool. It is cool. It is cool. And they kept him at $18. That is fantastic news, because remember what I said, I don't want him to be something fancy just because no actual reason. He's $18, he's a regular price character, that's good. So right here it says, the 2020 Masters of the Multiverse comic introduced the concept of multiple different Eternias. On Anti-Eternia, He-Man is evil, and Prince Keldor never becomes Skeletor. Keldor is recruited by different multi-versions of He-Man to claim the power of Grayskull, become He-Skeletor, and save every Eternia in the multiverse. This exclusive figure brings him to life in true Motu Origins style. Of course, we get the Masters of the Universe Origins He-Skeletor figure. We get a first ever figure of this character. This is the first time they've ever done this, which is true. It comes with the power sword, the axe, and the shield, standard weapons for this He-Man repaint. 16-point articulation, 5.5, because it's just a repaint. We don't expect anything different. Includes new mini comics, so that's pretty cool. And comes in premium Motu Origins packaging. That's fair, because the back is going to be the one image like I'm starting to really like here. Colors and decorations may vary. Now, don't do that. See, that's one of the things that kills me, is I want this here to be these gold colors. I better not get him and these be like yellow. That is starting to irritate me, because I understand professional photography and everything, but they're going in and touching up pictures and they're changing what we get. Don't do that. I would rather pay for the product in which I see that I know what I'm going to get than pay for the product and get something that isn't there. We've talked about this before. In fact, there was an entire video talking about this entire problem when we went over Tila and how she was yellow, not gold, and it was an actual problem. I had to do a follow-up video to that video explaining why it was a problem. Don't do that. Don't do that. We're more than okay with paying for the product that we see. We don't want to be shanghaied into buying products. We will stop buying them. That is an absolute 100% in your face. That's a threat. That's a threat. It's not just me. It's many, many, many fans are tired of this. And that's the reason we're worried about closed boxes. It's one of the primary reasons we're worried about closed boxes. Because closed boxes offers the opportunity for you to show us one thing and not give it to us. What we see on the outside of the box may very well not be what's inside the box. And I'm not talking about character swapping. I'm talking about when it isn't what was advertised. It's something that we are starting to see quite often, and it has to be addressed. Everything from when we're seeing it on the box when it claims to be pegless and then it's not pegless. Small issue, but to some collectors, a huge deal. Or when we see things like color on these pictures that isn't actually there when we open and view the product. And that's a problem that I've viewed for a long time myself, because I do Gunpla and such. But at least the Gunpla has the courtesy to put on the box, this model is painted, such as when you get the Dragon Ball Z figures and you look at the one in the book and you look at all the art on the side of the box, and on that box it tells you this is painted. Now I get it. They just told me right there colors may vary. But I just would like, especially if we're seeing colors, we're seeing a direct picture of the figure being posed. That's the figure we want. It's the figure we paid for. It's the figure we desired. And when we don't get it, when the colors aren't right, that's not right. It's not the same thing as a model, which we basically understood. The model that we see is the model that we could get if we put the absolute into it. This is different. An action figure is the action figure that we can receive if we're just willing to put the money down. Period. But all of that aside, I'm getting it. And I know that I said, ooh, do I really? I mean, is that a waste? It's Blue He-Man. It is Blue He-Man. Let's at least be 100% honest about what we're about to do here. I am about to put my money in to buy something that, quite frankly, is Blue He-Man. But there is a silver lining. Maybe even a gold lining, if we want to get all super technical. And that's because of what this is about to do. I would have preferred that the harness actually dictated the idea, that it would have been the harness from the comic. Because the artwork that I've seen doesn't look like that figure, necessarily. But this is the first run at the figure. And 2, this is in the Origins style, which takes a 1980s toy mentality and just kind of brings it up to the modern day. And chances are, had this been released in that time, this is what we would have got. There would have been no extra sculpt or anything like that. We understand that. We know what we're buying. But what I'm hoping for here, realistically, this does interest me. I'm hoping this opens the floodgates. That is why I'm interested more than anything, because I feel like if this thing sells out and they feel like they can do this, not necessarily, I'm hoping they pick it up and pick up production and get better and better and better at it, not just keep releasing repaints. But you understand, if they can do this, if they can release this and it sells and it works well, then maybe, just maybe, we'll see more comic variants, because that's a thing I haven't seen often. I know that Classics ran crazy and got a whole bunch of guys from the show, and it worked fantastically. So we had a lot of Filmation characters that showed up, and we've had things like movie He-Man. Okay, but we've never dove into this type of thing. This could be a huge deal, and it could start something completely different, because this could open up the floodgates for all the cool comic designs that exist. Because if I'm not mistaken, this is from the same comic line that does all the other figures. Sorry, this is from the same comic line that just did all the DC stuff. And that comic line had a very different She-Ra, a very different He-Man, a very different Eternian Goddess. All of these characters were like reimagined and looked really cool. In some cases, I was like, I kind of prefer the original. But in a lot of cases, I was like, that's really cool, that's really unique, that's really neat, I really like that. And I would love to see them get figures. And the truth of the matter is that the only way that happens is that they basically put their toes in the water. Toy companies love to do this. They put their toe in the water and they say, is this going to work? And they put out this one idea on the back of 10 or 7 other ideas. So we got a big wave of He-Man coming out. And then on top of that big wave of He-Man, they go, now hold on. What if we slip in this He-Skeletor? And some people are going, is that really going to work? And like, well, let's say it doesn't work. It's just a repaint. We're not really out materials or anything like that. It didn't hurt us to do it. We didn't have to tool a single new item. It's fantastic, right? And if it works, that goes one of 2 ways. I'll admit to this real quick. That goes and lets them go, oh, we could just repaint everything. He sells like Batman. Just repaint him 100 times and sell him over and 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 over. It could lead to some crap like that. But it could open up the gate and say, well, the comic variants do sell. What other comic variants were there? And then we might be lucky to get a different She-Ra, the She-Ra from the comic books. We might get the other Eternian Goddess from the comic books. We might get the He-Man who wore that really cool armor in the comic books, who was the Master of Eternity. That would be pretty cool. We could get the very, very awesome Skeletor that came from that, because he was a different design as well. And you know what? If we're crossing our fingers to the absolute breaking point, if we're hoping beyond hope, maybe we could even get the He-Man Thundercat crossover stuff, because that was actually way better than I thought. That was the first experience I've ever had with Thundercats in my entire life. I didn't watch it growing up. I had zero interest as an adult. I still don't necessarily see myself running out to buy the series, but if I seen it on sale, I would be interested at this point. Or if somebody bought it for me or something like that, I would be interested at this point to give it a try after reading it in the Motu comics and having a genuinely really good experience with the Thundercats in general. I liked the characterization. I enjoyed Lion-O a lot more than I thought I would. I liked the gimmick with the Sword of Omens as well as the Sword of Power. I really liked it quite a bit. I thought that it was a very, very well done crossover, and it made me say, well, that's pretty cool. It would be cool to kind of see some Thundercat figures. And then I got to looking and noticed that the Thundercat figures are not to scale. They're all like bigger, or they're either way bigger or way smaller each time than the Motu. They're never at the same scale as Motu, so we can't put them together. But if Origins, if this is an indicator that Origins may have gotten the open door, the green light, just like Classics all those years ago got a green light all of a sudden, and they said, hey, we got the rights, you could do Filmation characters. I almost said Funimation. You could do Filmation characters. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh man. And the floodgates opened and they could do all kinds of stuff at that point. This, maybe, speculatory, extreme speculation. Understand that. Before we go any further, speculating like crazy. But wouldn't it be cool if this was an indicator that they got the comic book rights and whatever appeared in the comics, they can now do? And that means all the variants possible from the comics could make their way in. And this guy could be the doorway to see if they even want to do that. So I will make an attempt. I will go online. I'm at work that day, so it always, like, I go to my lunch break and then I click on it and I hope that I get an actual internet signal. It's always a battle. Where I work, I'm in a big giant metal shack surrounded by concrete. So, like, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. I remember getting Frogmonger, I was sweating bullets because I hit the button and it was like loading. And it just went forever. It was like a 4-minute load before it went to the next screen. And then I was like, buy him. And then it was like prepping cart. And I was like, oh, come on. And then it went and it was like, you're in line. And I was like, oh man, there's no way I'm going to get it. There's no way. Then it went all the way through. And then it was like, give us your card. And I was like, I was so worried. I really was. Because it did not look promising. But I will throw my hat into the ring on this one. I will attempt it. This feels like it could open floodgates that would really lead to cool stuff. So as Dumbface Skeletor said, I will buy Blue He-Man. I'm on board. What do you guys think?
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.